What are my top 5 books right now or all time? I'm not sure. Maybe it'll be a mix. So one I already mentioned earlier, which was Meshivas Nefesh. Top 5 of all time for me. And like I said, because it's just a collection of all the chizuk in Likutei Moharan and Likutei Halachos. It's just stuff that lifts me up again and again. And to me, what drew me to Breslov more than anything else was the chizuk, constant chizuk. And I need that. I feel like if I don't have it, I get lost. But I've read that book so many times that like it's like so many things in there. Just that's how I think now. Like I just like my mantra is it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's all good. Let's move on. Let's start now. That's like one of my mantras just from reading that book so many times. So I love that book. Ema Banim Smecha. Absolutely love that book because of its positivity and how he shows you it just shows you how to find the good. He's always looking for the good. It's all about Eretz Yisrael and rebuilding Eretz Yisrael and the Chiyuv to come back and everything, but it's just so positive and so uplifting. There you go. Ema Banim Smecha.
You have the full size. This is the abridged version.
That's the essential.
Love that book.
Yes.
Like you said, I'm with you on the Likutei Moharan. It's just such a fascinating book. I feel like anything else you learn, it's like you see where it's going, and you could like say, okay, maybe you could take like an educated guess of where it's going next. With Likutei Moharan, Rabbi Nachman just left fields you all day long. He's like, boom, he throwing you curveballs, and you can never get comfortable in Likutei Moharan. It's like always something else. You're always on the edge of your seat, and it's so interesting. And it takes work, but when you really work at it, and you work on a Torah, and it's like I remember the first time I read Likutei Moharan, it was gibberish. Like I didn't understand a thing. I was like, all right, I don't know what this is. And then I even found the English one, and I opened up the English. And I'm like, okay, it's great English. I couldn't understand a word. It made no sense to me. But then, I learned from teachers, and then eventually you learn and work on it, and it opens up, and you work on the Torah, and it opens up to you, and it's like it's such an exciting thing to learn. It's so much fun, it's so insightful, and just gives you. It's a deep dive. Love Likutei Moharan, and I would throw Likutei Halachos in there because when you learn Likutei Moharan and you learn Likutei Halachos with it, it's like one limud. So, I'm gonna count both for one, if that's okay. Sefer HaTodah from Rabbi Eliyahu Kitov is his writing is so elegant and so beautiful, and the stuff the ideas he brings out, the way he puts things together, like nowhere else. Like the Sefer HaTodah goes through the whole Jewish year by month, and but then there'll be whole sections. Like, for example, one of my favorite sections in the book is all about the life of David HaMelech, which is in Chodesh Sivan for Shavuos. And he goes through the life of David HaMelech. And if you've never read him go through David HaMelech's life and describe it, you've never understood anything about David HaMelech. It's so beautiful. He describes his whole life and all the things he went through, and he connects it with what David HaMelech says himself and tell him. It's absolutely fantastic. In fact, I think I want to do a separate series just reading that in preparation and put that out in preparation for Shavuos, so people could just go through the life of David HaMelech. So Sefer HaTodah, and he also goes through halacha. He goes through halacha and agada there. So like each month he go through a little bit of halacha, but the way he writes halacha also is so beautiful. He just has a flow and a grace to the way he writes. Absolutely gorgeous. I love reading it. And for my last one, I'm going to say any Gemara. I love Gemara. I don't always. It's hard to learn sometimes, and sometimes I'll go months that I cannot open a Gemara. But when I'm able to sit and learn Gemara, it's the most immersive learning, and it's just it engages you heart and mind. I can't. It's hard to describe. It's hard to describe what a really immersive Gemara experience is. But I'll tell you, one time I was learning. I was learning with Reb Aaron Rothman, who he's one of my rabbis, and I was learning in his kollel, and we were learning Bava Kama. I remember, I think it was Daf Hey, and we were learning the Taisus in the Ba. I think it was a Taisus about bar, and I was trying to understand this Taisus, and there was a Marsha, and we were learning the Taisus, the Marsha, and like breaking our heads to try to put it together. And then at some point, like we hopped what the Marsha was saying and how Taisus made sense, and we just jumped up and started dancing. It was just the happiest dance. It was such a good feeling. So that's why I have to put Gemara on there.
Wow. That's awesome. That is really awesome. You can't argue with that list. I'm a big fan. Big fan of a lot of those things that you put on there. Mamash. And I think that...
Give us your top 5. I'm so excited to hear your top 5, Yehuda.
Well, I happen to be... It's like... It's a little bit counterclimactic when, you know, after you. So I think I'm going to have... I don't know what just happened there.
I hear you loud and clear, brother.
Oh, okay. Looks like we jumped out for a second. So I'm gonna have to just go with maybe just a little bit different things, because just to like jump on some different points, not to reiterate some of the same things.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
You could say the same thing, but it's going to be your spin on it and your energy, because you're totally different. That's
true. So I'm saying, I think Gemara, you know, like if I would choose one, I think it might have to be Kedushin. Kedushin's just been that Masechta for me. Like I love that. But anyhow, I'm gonna let's jump into what I think my top 5 are. Likutei Moharan. It's just, it's been on both your lists, and it really is such a unique limud. It's one of those books that for me, if you would have asked me, you would have said, choose one Torah from Likutei Moharan to put on as my favorite sefer, I would still choose the 6th. I would choose Torah Vav, or, you know, or Reish Beis, or like, and just put it on there. And that could be the whole book for me. You know what I mean? Like, and there's so many that I would even choose from there that we could go through and argue, because it's been my whole life. And it becomes so, it's immersive. It's immersive in a way that even Gemara is immersive, but it's different. But it's a crazy world. You're in Rabbi Nachman's life, but you're in your life, but you're in all of Torah, and you're just it's alive within you. It's crazy. Gemara also, so you really need to be part of it. Like if you're not immersed in it, then you're kind of out of it. But Likutei Moharan, even if somebody doesn't understand it, it's like immersive. It's filled with light. It's crazy. It's like in that way. It's like reading Zohar. It's just straight light. So that's that. But I do also want to jump in. I think Chumash is one of my favorite books, especially Chumash Bereshis. Chumash Bereshis. It's every year I come back to it, and we all come back to it, and it's stories and teachings, and my whole life, like my whole world is mamish in Chumash Bereshis. Like the whole formation of Am Yisrael, of the Avos going into Mitzrayim, and all the dynamics are so much a part of me. And I'll be honest with you, for me, stories is a really, really, really high, has a really high standard. You know, I'm a story guy through and through. I love stories, Rabbi Nachman stories. I love, you know, Rabbi Kitov stories. I love Baal Shem Tov stories. I love reading stories. And for me, stories captivate my mind. Stories of tzaddikim, and especially the Chumash stories, they so completely captivate my mind that I just become lit up by it. And when the stories of Chumash Bereshis, which have entered me from when I was so young and so little, that that as I build on it, so even it's like way before the intellectual side of my brain really fully matured. And so it's there with me, but yet it's also, the more that I learn it, and every year new depths open up. I don't know. So Chumash is huge, huge. right now, I'm also the last number of years, I've been deep into. Welcome back. I've been deep into the Seforim of the Baal Shem Tov and like the early core Talmidei Baal Shem Tov, and those Seforim have been really lighting up my life in a big way. Last couple of years, it's been like what I've been immersed in. So I guess if I had to choose one, I guess it would be like Keser Shem Tov. It's just mind-blowing teachings from the Baal Shem Tov, and it just it's gewalt. It's mamish gewalt.
Shameless plug. Check out the Best Blast playlist.
I really haven't been putting out enough of them, but we're going to be putting out more and more of them. It's every time, and you know something? Many times you can even learn the same piece in the Keser Shem Tov, and depending on where you're at, it'll open up in new ways. And many times they need to be opened up. That's kind of the idea with that. But I think the last one that I'm going to have to go for. You put out Sefer HaTodah. You put out, like that's also like when I got into Rebbe Okito, if I'm going to leave that for a whole nother part of this, I think it might be Shla. Learning Shla for me is an interesting story. I actually, when one of my Rebbeim, Rav Belsky, Daniel Belsky, when I was by him, so I was like, pounding a lot of Chassidus, and he was always pushing me. He's like, Yehuda, go draw from the wells that they drank from. And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, where do you think the Chassidim are Rishonim, like, what did they learn? What did the Baal Shem Tov learn? And so I was like, I don't know. He goes, Shla, learn Shla. And the truth is,
Shla Kudish Ni.
Shla Kadosh, yeah. It's like, there's only a few Seforim that are like that. The Ar Chaim HaKadosh, Shla Kadosh. The Shla Sefer is one of those books that was completely closed to me for a long time. And every time that I tried to open it up, didn't make any sense. And then one night, probably, I don't know, like 12 years ago, I was, I didn't know what it was. It was just another random night, but I was reading In the Lion's Den from Reb Eliyahu Kitov, which we'll get into soon. Those are the stories. And I was reading about the Balatanya and how Reb Shner Zalman of Liadi, like the way that the Chevra Chap, that he was mamish in the world of Chassidus, was because he was just pounding Shla all the time. And little did I know that it was actually the Balatanya's yahrzeit. At that point, I wasn't so, I guess I wasn't as up to date. And the next day, I was so lit by this story, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I went to the Beis Medrash the next day. I pulled out the Shla, and I just went through the entire table of contents. And the whole thing just started lighting up. And then, like, I saw like different pieces that I wanted to look, and I just spent hours just like standing by the edge of a Beis Medrash, just like looking through and reading it. And it was just, and then I finally got my own Shla, and it has been, it's a wild limud. And many times I learned it and I have no clue what he's talking about. but it's mamish, but some of the pieces are just, wow, he's life-changing.